do something.
Start whenever you want.
Oh, okay. So, we did have a finance committee meeting, and Debbie Leos is here, and I'm happy to report that we are in excellent shape, sort of, kind of, and will be as soon as I deliver the legislative report. So Debbie, do you want to come forward, please, and give us all of our great news? Sorry.
That was a great introduction. Thank you. First of all, for anyone who doesn't know Melanie, I'm probably going to introduce you a couple of times here, but Melanie Williams is our new senior accountant at TBARTA. She is doing a fantastic job working on not only the financials, but we'll talk about the audit that we're in the midst of. We are looking at the finances through April. And in April, we had a surplus of $113,972 as compared to a budget of $137,249. As you may recall, the budget for this year is basically 1/12 each year. We're going to be doing something entirely different with the new accounting staff that we have. But we are doing well. The revenues are under budget as well as the expenses. On the revenue side, the primary area that we're under budget in is on the RTDP, and that's primarily just due to the timing of when we started the project. And on the expense side, we are under budget in just about every single category here. So the two of them are netting out, so we're a little bit behind on a year-to-date basis, but I think we're doing extremely well. We also have, just to let you know from the balance sheet side of things, we have in our operating account for TBARTA at the end of April, $55,909. That gets quickly eaten up, and we've been spending a lot of time catching up on doing requests for reimbursement with FDOT, and you'll be able to see we have grant receivables out there of a significant dollar amount. I've just learned that we should be able to get a lot of that money in. Should be able to get a lot of that money in by hopefully Monday. So that's excellent news to stay on top of things. We're staying on top of all the accounts payable as well, so that's good news. One of the things that we're working on, many things we're working on, is we have an audit going on right now for fiscal 18 with Clifton Larson Allen. As you may recall, we had the forensic audit done last year, which concluded in September and was presented to the board in September. So what I'm anticipating, since their forensic audit covered the entire fiscal year, we're going to be seeing the same findings at that point in time. The findings revolved around the timeliness of providing reports to the funding agencies. That is not an issue anymore. Timeliness of getting requests for reimbursement, which we're improving on, and then also using the grants appropriately. So those are the main areas, as well as we had to update the procurement policy, which of course we have done. So we're well on our way this year, and I expect fiscal 19 to be a beautiful audit. But I just wanted to let the board know that, the Finance Committee know, that you'll be seeing the same findings from the forensic since it ended in September. Are there any questions regarding the financial statements? Okay.
You didn't, I think everyone knows, but you might want to, do you have an update on the county, on the partner counties' contributions? Because I do for Pinellas.
Well, Madam Chair, I will defer to you.
So, I had a conversation with our county administrator, and he has already allocated those dollars in for TBARTA as we have recommended. Thank you, David. Thank you, Chair, and everyone else that moved that along. So
Excellent.
I will see what I can do to expedite the dollars coming in.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. That concludes my report.
There you go. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Your meeting essentially, did you want to do a public comment? Council, do we need to do public comment on this?
You don't have to, only on action items.
Okay,
Do you have to take public comment? So you're not required to.
so we're still in the,
Finance
Finance
Committee
Committee meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually, this is, the board meeting hasn't started yet.
All right, well then, do you want to, I'm a little frazzled because, here I am. So please pardon me. Debbie, do you want to talk in this part of the meeting about the travel reimbursement? That might be a good thing to talk about. I guess that's part of the
All right, at the policy committee, we had brought forth last month and again this month, travel and expense reimbursement policy. The reason we took a look at this is because we had an employee who had a requested reimbursement for expenses that were incurred up to 3 years previous. The majority of the expenses were in fiscal 18, and they are all grant eligible. But the timeliness of it without having a policy in place was an issue. The Finance Committee at its last meeting took a look, and we had done an audit and review of all the expenses. They were appropriate, and so we will be reimbursing the employee for this. This employee had put all the expenses on their personal credit card. And while the spirit of what they were doing was okay, it is not okay from a business perspective to do that or allow an employee to have that kind of funds sitting out on their own personal credit card. So the policies were put in place. We're requesting that employees seek reimbursement within 30 days of the expenditure. We're not going to penalize them if they don't do it within 30 days, but David, as the CEO, will have to take a look at that, and we may or may not, depending on the timeliness issue, not give a reimbursement going forward.
So the reason and I apologize, Melanie, for pulling that out of policy for a moment, but the reason why I thought it might be important for everyone to be aware is that as we travel and move our meetings around throughout our region, there are dollars in the budget, correct, to cover
There
the
is.
expenses of reimbursement for travel. So we'll need to get our members in the habit of tracking that and then submitting. And then maybe you can speak to the issue about quorum and stuff like that again, because even though we had things that we took up in our finance and our policy committee, we still didn't have a quorum, so we couldn't vote on anything.
Yeah, we had 3 people that were present at our policy committee meeting, and so we debated this recommended policy. We are recommending passage, but it will have to be passed and discussed by the board today. And we felt comfortable with the fact that the word may had been added to the language that does give David discretion if someone does go beyond 30 days for reasonable reason for submitting a reimbursement receipt. And with that, we are going to look at the attendance policy and what we may be able to do to facilitate that, given now that we know the legislature did not include language in any of the bills passed in this session regarding the ability for TBARTA members to attend meetings by phone.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the end of my finance report.
Okay, good. Do you want to conclude we're actually in a Finance Committee meeting now, so do you
We're
want
in
Right.
the Finance
I-
Committee meeting.
I'm sorry?
You're running the meeting. We're in the
You-
Finance Committee
Oh,
meeting.
oh, last time I did that, you took it away from me and said I was done.
No, that was when I was running the meeting. Now you're running the
Board
meeting.
meeting, you're in. You have no other items on the agenda.
No, we don't. That's what I'm trying to
Move to
say.
adjourn.
Yeah, the
Second.
finance
Second.
committee
Okay.
meeting has completed their report for today. It's good to know everyone has a nice sense of humor on Friday morning.
You adjourn?
Oh, yeah.
Where
motion and a
is my
second.
gavel? Give me that gavel, Jim, because I've said it now. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention.
Yep. We can't hear you down this end.
Well, he didn't turn, well, okay. I'm done.
All right, we'll convene.
Don't encourage me.
We'll convene in a half hour.